Our next speaker is going to talk about surgery for intestinal carcinoids, the midgut neuroendocrine tumors. This is Dr. Yizarn Wang, who has a colorful career starting out as a dentist in Taiwan, then going to Oregon State University studying medicine and pathology, went to Washington University in St. Louis to do a surgical residency at Barnes Hospital. He was at Louisiana State University since 1994 until Katrina hurricane happened. Then he was at Ochsner Kenner, and now he's chairman of Neuroendocrine Tumor Research and Treatment Center at Baylor University in Dallas. I'd like to welcome Dr. Yizarn Wang. Thank you.
Well, before I start my comment, I have one disclosure. I'm not here trying to sell some old Chinese medicine, try to drum up my business. The reason I pick up the topic for a reason. Still a lot of myths. The treatment, I think, in my personal view, has been wrong for a long time. And until I got into that involvement, I realized there's a lot need to be improved. And I'm one of the very strange surgeons you will encounter. At Baylor now, about 90% of my patients came to me already turned down by 3-4 different surgeons in this country I take on. On the other hand, if you have any disease, there's other. If there's any other disease that had a better treatment other than surgery, I will avoiding surgery. So I'm kind of, almost kind of in those kind of gray zone. In one way, I'm very aggressive doing surgery. In another way, if any alternative available, I would not pursue with surgery. And I give one good example. For years, so appendicitis, if you have appendicitis, you go to any surgeon, they take your appendix out. And then I realized, as a matter of fact, most of the patients, 80% of patients use antibiotic therapy, you can save the appendix. So I don't do appendectomy unless the patient failed medical therapy or there's other indication. I was even wrongfully reprimanded by using that therapy, but I will not change my mind because that's a better approach for the patient. And now I'll give you another true story. This is a patient had a neuroendocrine tumor, underwent a so-called radioembolization. Unfortunately, he developed a very bad complication, developed a fistula between the liver and the lung. So what happened, every time he take a deep breath, instead of getting air into his lung, his bile juice got sucked up into the chest. And so he's coughing, up bile all the time. So he came to New Orleans hoping to looking for therapy. So he came in one of the weekend, Thursday evening. He got admitted. He was scheduled for have a major surgery the coming Monday. I was by chance the one take the weekend call, so I saw the patient with my resident. I said, what's going on with this patient? So the resident tell me, what's the story? I said, what's the plan? They said, we're going to do the big surgery on him Monday. I said, this guy will not even survive the surgery. He's so emaciating, and you have to do surgery. You have to fix the liver, fix the diaphragm, fix the lung. I think he would never tolerate it. So I say, we need to do something different. So I thought about one crazy idea. So I called my GI guy in. I said, you need to help me. I said, he asked me, what do you have in mind? I said, I want to do an ERCP, put a scope into the stomach, looking up the bile duct, shooting some contrast to find where there's communication between the liver and lung located. He found it. He said, so what? I said, let's do something. Let's plug up this hole. So if you sucking on a cup of water with a straw, if I piece of spaghetti in the straws, you can never suck up anything, right? So I think this tube between the fistula opening between the liver and the lung, if I put a plug in there, I can stop the problem immediately. He said, no one have done this before. He said, you get in trouble. I said, yes, I know just no one done this before. But I said, if we don't do something, who can improve this problem? So I said, any new disease, new process, someone have to take the initiative. So he said, no, I'm not doing this. I said, how about let me sign all the release, say if anything go wrong, legally I'm liable, let's do it together. So we take the patient to the suite. We did find the area in problem. We shoot patient's own blood. When the blood gel up like a gel of pudding, and just suck up completely. So you can see the films very nicely. I'm sorry. One of the film on this side, you can see the contract light up in the lung, and the other one is complete go away. So after the procedure, he immediately turned around and without any complications. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm not here to say the surgical procedure. I'm just trying to tell some of the facts as I see it, okay? So I come to Baylor in January, and I spend time to talk to my hospital staff. I want to teach all my hospital staff know what is neuroendocrine tumor, how to treat it surgically, and how to take care of patients. So I did not operate on the first 3 months. I give 6 different talks. And during the preparation of the talk, one of the slides I put up is one of the gentlemen come from Georgia to see me. And this picture tells you something strike me. This is a patient's the liver, the MRI you can look at. Just all lumps, bumps like golf ball in the liver. Just no other disease in the human can do this kind of have this kind of performance. If this is a bacterial infection, the patient will be dead. If it's a fungal infection, the patient will be dead. If this is a breast cancer metastasis of the liver, you will be dead. If it's pancreatic cancer metastasis of the liver, you will be dead. So one of the disease can present like this. And I tell you, there's only one disease in the human body. You can look at the scan, you can make a diagnosis without biopsy or the confirmation. You can look at, you can bet your life this is a neuroendocrine tumor well differentiated, because patients been lived so long with the liver completely replaced by the golf ball, and they're still walking, talking. This guy flew all the way from Atlanta come to see me without any problem. So the point I'm trying to stress is, this disease is very different from any other disease we know in medicine. So in other words, to treat this disease, the surgeon's mindset, the medical doctor's mindset must be different. Like I teach a student resident, fighting the war, in order to win the war, you must know your enemy. So let me just come up very quickly, talk about neuroendocrine tumor small bowel. It's not a very rare disease. It's 3 times more than the stomach cancer, at least twice times more than the pancreatic cancer. The problem with the traditional treatment is we always say, wait and see. We will do something after you get in trouble. And I don't like that philosophy. Almost like you tell me you see a live cigarette butt in your living room sofa, you can ignore it, you're going to watch your football game, and you say, I'm going to call 911 when the smoke is up, flames up. I think that approach, that's not the right thing to do. So traditionally, we also misunderstood. We thought the disease is so slow growing, they never hurt anyone. That's wrong. They still can kill patients. They just kill patients in a more slower pace than the regular cancer. So when I just started involving a huge volume of patients come to New Orleans with this disease, I really don't know what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do, because I was taught to wait and see when I was in training. So I look up some of the reference, and this is the best study I can come up with. It's from a Swedish study. Very busy study, but I'm going to simplify it for you. You are talking about the patient with small bowel tumor, and the neuroendocrine tumor with a liver metastasis. So they stratify patient into the 4 different ways to treat the patient. Do nothing, or just remove the primary, do not do anything with the lymph node, or remove the primary, remove the lymph node, and then the last group is to do everything, the whole 9 yards. They remove the primary, remove the lymph node, also remove the tumor in the liver, see what happens. So if you do nothing, the median survival is 4 years. So a patient died in about 4 years in the average. If you just remove the primary, nothing else, the median survival becomes 7.3 years, 7.4 years. If you just by adding one more step, by remove the lymph node, now the median survival becomes 9 years. if you do a liver debulking, completely remove the tumor in the liver, you become 14 years. So this study teach me a lot of lessons. Say somewhere, somehow, every single step, surgeon put the effort in, patient can benefit from it. So this is a study from Dr. Rod Palmier from Oregon. He looked at some of the patients with a liver metastasis. If they cannot do anything about the liver, just remove the primary, what happened? And it shows your median survival increase. This is another study come out from Italy. Again, the same thing. If you already have a liver metastasis, and the surgeon say, I cannot do those liver resection, but I'm going to just remove the primary, what is going to happen? Your median survival almost 4 times increase. You say this is only one study. Another study, this come from England. Again, the same thing. Just remove the primary, your median survival come up from the small bowel standpoint from 22 months become hundreds a month. Now, there's a lot of different medicine study, and I'm not smart enough to know all this medical stuff, so I'm just kind of give you a very quick summary. And I want to point out one thing. This is a PROMIC study, so they're looking at, say, how long before the disease progress if you treat people. So then you can look at this. They are counting on the months, right? So second study, the Planet study, use lanreotide. Again, they look and see how long the disease will be holding back. Again, the way they evaluate, they're looking for months. And now you go to the medical therapy, Afinitor for the pancreas tumor. Again, you treat it without treating, and you're looking at the median benefit from disease progression, survival. You're still talking about months. You start to see what I'm starting driving now? Okay, Radiant 2 result, again, you look at the benefit counting in months. They are benefiting. Remember, this is not one size fits all. Every treatment has some utility. But I'm just very, very objective evaluate, say how long this lasts. Okay, Radiant 3. Okay, again, it counting in months. Radiant 4. Again, it counting in months. Now, this is a summary. You can see the response rate. Not all the patients respond. Response rate 20-some%, 30-some%, not 100%. But if you do surgery, you cut the tumor out, put in buckets, response 100%. Now this is a study, all in budging. All the patients think this is not the PRRT is God-sent gift. PRRT is my answer. Now, if I got a PRRT, I'm in good shape. Yes, you look at all the data, it's very impressive, right? Still, you're talking about months, right? It's not years. Months, right? Months. Now if you look at the chart very carefully, the total response rate is 18%, 1% complete response, 17% partial response. Again, I'm doing say if you do surgeries, 100% response. So my thought is now that the captain, again, you look at response rate and the time of benefit, you count in months. So this is the paper Dr. Watering and published last year, and this including my work in New Orleans. If you look at it, now we're counting years. So you see the difference I'm driving? A lot of therapy, all good. They buy you time in terms of months. But if you find a good surgeon, buy you time in terms of years, in 10, 15 years, not 10, 12 months, okay? So now let me talk about the real subject. Now, the small bowel usually is very difficult to diagnose. Their symptoms very vague. Patients usually come in very late in presentation. So by the time they come to me, they look like this. You can see my fingers pointing out the white dots. That's where the tumor started. You can see the blue intestine. Those are the blood supply, but choking off by the lymph node, encasing the blood supply. The intestine ready to die. And on the other side, further out, those are pink intestine. Those are healthy intestine. That small guy, just let me come back. So small, you have to use my finger to indicate what the tumor is. And you look at how big the tumor in the liver has been. So this patient went to Washington University, where I was trained, to find my old professor. My old professor told the patient, say, there's no way in Jose this will come out. They find me, I took it out. Okay, there's another patient. I don't know. You can see the white dot in there. There's a small white dot in the black intestine. Again, this patient's intestine ready to die because the blood supply got chewed off by the tumor in the lymph node. See how big the liver metastasis is, or was. I took it out. So now this is the case I did at Baylor. This patient's tumor is so small. I let my resident run the small box 3 times. They cannot find anything. I said, let the old man try it. I find it. I'm so afraid I'm going to lose it, so I had to put a stitch on the side so I don't miss it. I don't know, can you see the stitch? But look at this patient's liver, like July 4th firework. I don't need to start getting what I'm trying to tell you now. This disease is very, very strange, the way it's presented. Now you look at this another patient, all the tumor in the liver, and I want you to guess how big the primary is. And you will not believe that's a guy like that. So how could in any disease in the human body go like this? So I want to refresh your memory. There's only one condition in human body can have this kind of picture. Okay? So in other words, I tell my patient and my student resident, the way you address neuroendocrine tumor, especially small intestine, your mindset will be complete 180-degree reverse. The regular cancer is on the left-hand side. Is you have the primary tumor start to grow and build up momentum before they migrate to the lymph node. When they go to lymph node and generate enough momentum, they go to your liver. So it's more like climbing up the mountain or the pyramids. So I'll give you a quick example. You talk about breast cancer, your T1 tumor is less than 2 centimeters, T2 is between 2 to 5, and T3 is greater than 5. If you have a T1 tumor breast cancer, the chance of lymph node metastasis is only 7%. But when you go to T2, the chance of lymph node metastasis becomes 27%. And you go to T5, T3, T4, then you become 45, 50% chance of lymph node metastasis. So every single step, all the way go up. But the neuroendocrine tumor, especially the midgut, is like the graph I show you on the right-hand side. A very small bin Laden hiding somewhere, you cannot even find it, right? I have to pick up my finger to point that to you. And their lymph node is already bulky enough to choke out the blood supply to the small intestine. And the liver like July 4th firework. So in other words, in order to do this, to treat the disease right, do the right operation, you must reverse your thinking. And that's what I have done all these years. So you have to refresh your memory, and I want to emphasize this again. So now, in order to treat the small intestinal tumor, you have 3 ways, three spectrum you have to address. Number 1 is address your primary tumors. Number 2, you address all the lymph node metastasis. Number 3, you have to address the liver metastasis. I'm going to take you through one by one. So in terms of primary, I think the most important thing, because the tumor biology is so different, remember the pyramid, the reverse pyramid. If you can knock off the tip off, I think the pyramid was a collapse. So to me, and all the study I show you, just by remove the primary alone, you did not address anything in the liver, the median survival can increase it 3 or 4 times. So in other words, even this is a disease, we need all the experts to do things work together. In order to win the war, you must remove the primary. In the primary, the only time, most of the time you can find it, you need to have a finder like Navy SEAL, like me, boots on the ground going to find it. Because you can do a CAT scan, you can do endoscopy, double balloon endoscopy, a chair scan, you can do all kind of things. You may not find the primary. But if you find an experienced surgeon going to the abdomen, you can find the primary. Okay, so if you ask me the way to treat the primary, what the top 3, I would say surgery is the second choice. I say still surgery. And you say, what the third choice? I say still surgery. And you say, Wang, are you retarded? You cannot come up with any other answer? I say, yes, that's only one answer. Okay? So now, you would remember I said the thinking have to be changing because this disease is different. So if you have a disease like this, such a small area, how much you have to take it out? Guess what? We've been taught, like cutting cookies, everything which we ever understand. We were taught the tumor will migrate 5 centimeters on each end. If you take 5 centimeters on the downstream and upstream, you should be do just fine. I think that's just the most dumbest idea I ever heard. You think that the tumor will listen to your comment and say, hey, you're going too far, come back. You can only go 5 centimeters. Tumor don't listen to that. They do whatever they want. So I think that in order to really to precisely remove the tumor, you need to remove is you say, okay, I'm going to use some way to find where the tumor goes. Almost like a bank robber robbed the bank. The way they go out, they have a planned route to go out, right? If you have a police set up a checkpoint on their escape route, you can catch them. If you don't set the checkpoint, you don't know their roadmap where they escape, you're not going to find it. So I come with this idea, so let's do this. And I'm not smart enough to do this all by myself. I'm just steal some idea from somewhere else. So the breast cancer and melanoma, we've been using blue dye for years. I said, how about let me just try this on this neuroendocrine tumor. So I tried that. So now this is, and later on I will show you a lifetime video, you will see that, how it works. But anyway, the tumor I show you on the picture, now I use some blue dye to inject. You can see the blue dye started going away. It try to go home, go through your lymphatic channel, go to the thoracic duct, go back to your heart. And all the blue nodes, you cannot see it now, you can see all the blue nodes very, very, very clearly. So in a normal lymphatic, like I'm pointing out to you, when you inject the blue dye, they should go to the mesentery where the blood vessel is, because that's where the lymphatic is, the lymph site can go back to the heart. But somehow they go sideways when you have a neuroendocrine tumor with a lymph node choking on the blood supply at the bottom. So this is a very, very strange phenomenon. And so I thought, this is something very interesting we need to further pursue. Before I was moving forward, I got a phone call from the hospital administration. They said, Dr. Wang, you really needed blue dye doing your surgery? I said, yes, I do. I said, what's the problem? He said, if you really don't need it, we think you should stop doing this. I said, what's the problem? He said, there's one vial of the blue dye is $800. Unless you tell me, say, you're really doing something good for your patient, we really want you to stop doing that. So now I have to come up with a reason to convince my hospital to let me do it, right? So I have to put a thinking cap together, see, how can I convince them, say, this is a must? So before I ready to give up on the approach, I say, wait a second. There's something magically happening in the operating room. When I see the blue dye going the sideways instead of go down to the blood supply, I see three things coming hand in hand. Always the three things I find it together. The patient going to have a very, very big lymph node metastasis in the root of mesentery, and those wrapping around the vessel in the root of mesentery. And all those patients, if you inject the blue dye, they don't go to the mesentery, they go to the small bowel. And then those patients, if you feel that the intestine very carefully, they usually have more than one tumor. So I, say, wow, are there the three things are just individually all true but have nothing to do with each other, or did the three combined finding have something, a real connection there? So show you this picture. Like this patient, the blue dye go more than 14 centimeters still going. And if you are using 5 centimeters as a margin to cut it, I will have 9 centimeters intestine is contaminated by the tumor cell, and disease is going to come back, right? And we teach the student residents that neuroendocrine tumor is a 30% tumor. 30% of tumor will have multiple primary, 30% of tumor will have recurrent disease. And we've been teaching the student residents that's the natural history of the disease. I say, no, that's a surgeon screw up, because surgeon did not using the scientific way to find where the real margin is. So how this got together? So to me, I finally put all the three together. I say when the disease have enough disease in the root of mesentery, they obstruct the lymphatic channel going home. So almost like you driving on the highway, you try to find the highway ramp, go onto the highway, go home quicker. And the highway ramp got had blockage because highway is on construction. So you keep driving on the surface road and go to the next ramp, it's still closed. You go to the next ramp, it's still closed. You keep driving, right? You see, I hope I can find somewhere the blockage is open. So by doing this, now you can see that I use a clamp to show you where the tumor is. Okay, and then you can see blue light come from here. They try to come home, it's blocked, so they can often come here and try to here. Block again, I come here. Block again, come here. Finally, I got the way home. So by doing this, what's going to happen is almost the birds fly over your windshield and poop on your windshield, and just all of a sudden you can see all the tumor metastasized in that area. Let me come back, show the pictures again. So you can see that that's a lump is blocking this going home. So this they have to keep going, and until they find this way home. And so by doing this, and no wonder 30% of patients may have recurrent disease after you resect it, because if you don't use a scientific way to find where the lymphatic channel really goes, you really can make a mistake, right? So with that finding, I tell my hospital, I say, yes, leave me alone. I really need it, because this is really helping patient, because this is a way I can really do the surgery in a scientific way without second guessing myself. So I show you another picture like that. Can you play the video now? Can we play the video now? And this is the video I presented in American College of Surgeons in 2012. They want me to show how this really work in real time. And so I finally find the videotape. Can we all, okay. Can you go forward to the 35 seconds? Yeah, there you go, yeah. So this is how I do it in the operating room. I bend the needle up a little bit. And I'm going to put the needle into the area where the tumor is. Can you speed up a little bit? It's like going so slow. Okay, now you can see the blue dye start running now. Somehow this speed is much slower than the real time when I'm playing in the American College of Surgeons. Now you can see the lymphatic is moving, and I'm going to show you where the lymphatic is moving. Is the soundtrack you can open or no? Is soundtrack can be open with a thing? See the blue dye map moving? Can you guys see that? It keeps running, like within a minute it runs more than 10 centimeters. All right, we can stop that. Let me just come back to the regular talk again. So I've been doing this, since 2007, and so it's 11 years now. I find very gratifying by doing this, and I can find exactly what I'm going to. Can you put, yeah, okay, it's now see, like this guy with the green note there, I would have missed otherwise. The beauty about with this technique, now I know exactly where the tissue being contaminated by the tumor, so I can do this surgery with even a first-year intern, because unless she or her is colorblind, she can know exactly where the tumor is, stopped and where it started. So very scientific. Then another patient came to me after the resection by other surgeons, some other hospital. The surgeon missed one tumor. I put the blue dye in there. The blue dye are crossing the surgical resection site. This is in crossing over. In other words, this technique can be used even after the previous surgery was not complete. So the second thing I did is a lot of you guys have a mid-gut neuroendocrine tumors toward the ileum. So we've been taught anyone in the terminal ileum disease, you do a right hemicolectomy, no question asked, in order to do that. I think, again, that is one of the myths I'm pounding on the resident's head without any scientific data. I say, why should I take the right colon if the right colon lymphatic was not contaminated by the tissue? Remember, the ileocecal valve is a very important structure. God put in there for a reason. It just stops the fluid traffic speed, so it gives the small intestine more time to reabsorb the nutrient, and so if you take the ileocecal valve, the food can come from small intestine, flood into the colon. And so if you already have the diarrhea from serotonin overproduction from neuroendocrine tumor, I take your ileocecal valve, going to make your diarrhea even worse. So I think if we can save the ileocecal valve, we should save it. I think I can save ileocecal valve if I can use a blue dye to show that the terminal ileum tumor did not contaminate the right colon. So the drawing, if the lymphatic goes to contaminate the right colon, I take the colon like this patient. The colon is no longer clean, but like this patient, the lymphatic did not go to the colon. There's no reason I should take the patient's right colon out, so I spare the colon. So after a while, I put all this together. The most important thing was the second line of the statement. 35 patients I have taken back to the operating room because the first time they did not have blue dye mapping, so I look at it. The most humbling experience I learned is of the 35 patients, I did not use blue dye on the first surgery. 19 I find the tumor right at where the old resection site was. Guess what? I screw up when I don't use the blue dye. It's not my fault because my eyes don't have an X-ray vision. I don't know where the tumor stopped. I just assuming there's a 5 centimeter stop there, and I did it. But when I went back there, but look at, since I've been doing this, zero. I have no patient come out with recurrent disease since you use blue dye in the lymphatic. So this is a very important thing. I think we should do this. So I tell, go on the tour allowed to tell other surgeons, say, let's do this way, because that gives you a better resection, give a better clean, better operation. Patient had a better quality of life because they have less diarrhea, less recurrent, and that should translate to long-term better survival. And toward the end, I can show you the number. So now the other thing I push around is the lymph node. When I was in New York, about 78% of patients came to me already turned down by 3 surgeons. Now at the Baylor, it's almost 90% now. Patient already turned down by 2 or 3 different surgeons. And I always joke with my patient or my residents, say, I don't know if this is a reward or it is a punishment, because I'm getting more and more difficult cases no one want to try, and they ended up in my lab. But on the other hand, if some of the disease, if you don't take it out and they eventually choke out the blood supply, like I showed you in a few cases, those intestines can be necrotic and can give you emergency bowel perforation, and you can die in septic shock in a very traumatic way. So you must try something. So I start to say, we need to push the envelope. The first 3 patients, more than 12, 13, 15 years ago, I did not do aggressive approach. All 3 patients died. And then one of the husbands even tell me, say, Dr. Wang, I wish you have the courage to take those tumors out when you are in the operating room. So I've been since, and I've been pushing the envelope. I've been getting bolder and bolder. Sometimes I think, like I'm robbing the bank, I never get caught and get addicted to it. So this is a regular tumor. We have the lymph node dissection. This is the case I did at Baylor. You can see that the tumor right in there and the blood supply right next to it. And no one dares touch her. She has 3 surgeons look at her, and no one would touch her. Again, you can see that the tumor right there. And of course, this is the Gallium 68 scan, show you the same thing. And this in the operating room, it's just like someone make a fist in my face. And I look at myself and say, wow, what I'm doing today. But just, we pay attention. We got it out pretty nicely. You can see the nerves, vessels, everything all cleaned out. Okay, this is how much tumor I take out on her. And this is another case, earlier case. You can look at CT scan, and you can see the tumor is encasing by the the blood supply, again, no one there to touch him. I got the vessel cleaned out very nicely. This is how much tumor I take out on him. But this is not like 1 second I show you the slide. This take me 8 hours to do it. There's another patient like that. Again, the small primaries. No one can see this on any scan unless you have boots on the ground. Just how much tumor I take it out. I want to come back on this again. See how small that thing is and how much tumor I have to take it out. All right, this in our case, this is like a show-off slide now. I just tell you, say, this can, ever since that this cannot be done, I tell you, say, yes, it can be done. More case like this. I think this is a very clean dissection. You get all the vessel out, no tumor around it anymore. Again. And usually the specimen on the table. My pathology always complain about it. I have make them so busy. So now, this slide have a very important point. Not all the surgeons have the same intensity, interest in doing things, and not all the surgeons have the same experience. Not all the surgeons have different way addressing things. This is a patient Dr. Lou Anthony sent to me. See, the tumor is sitting in the pelvis, involving the rectum here, involving the bladder there. So she was told she needed a pelvic examination, means she's going to lose her vagina, she's going to lose her bladder, and she's going to lose her rectum. Dr. Anthony didn't agree with that. Dr. Anthony called me and said, Izan, can you take on this case? I said, let me try. And I took everything out. She did not lose her vagina, did not lose her bladder, did not lose her rectum. I got everything out on her. And this is just I did last week. This is a 78 years old gentleman, got turned on by 5 different surgeons with a big tumor sitting right there, that tumor. And this is a celiac trunk, hepatic artery. The artery go to your liver and just go to your spleen, wrapping around it. In this area called celiac trunk, a lot of nerve there. He's hurting day and night. So he come to my office. He tell me the first time, he said, Dr. Wang, do something for me. 5 different surgeons turn me down. And please, everyone tell me you're my last hope. Can you do something? And he's paraplegic. He's on the wheelchair. I'm in 78. I was really reluctant to offer him anything. Then he looked at me, he said, I prefer, you give me a chance, I prefer die on the table instead of living like this. Can you do something for me? I said, let me think about it. And I never called him back. And he just kept calling my office. So I finally get another scan again. Now, look at it. That thing is a portal vein, that big vessel on top there, going to the liver. So now I have to think about it because he's been very persistent. I said, let me present him my tumor board. My tumor board, everyone said, no, I will not touch him, send him for radiation therapy. But then reality is, if this portal vein got occluded, his liver going to get trouble. And if I back up, the hepatic artery, his artery got blocked by tumor. So the blood supply in liver have 2 sources. One is a hepatic artery, one is a portal vein. So the tumor is erratic on both. So if I don't do anything, eventually his liver tumor and liver going to die from that. So I finally take on, and he come back. He just keep calling. I finally just say, okay, come back, let's talk. He tell me the same thing again. Say, please do something. I prefer die on the table, like without pain and instead of living like this. So I take it. I don't know if you can see that there's a groove there, that the trough there. That was sitting on the portal vein. And I got it out without blood transfusion. He went home 3 days. I saw him, I did it 1 month ago. I saw him last week, and he's the happiest man. I cannot even recognize him when he came in. He was a big smile on the face. He said, thank you so much. Now, the other thing I did is, I do those surgery like that, very good dissection. But in my mind is, God forbid, there might be some microscopic disease in this area. I just cannot see it yet. What if those diseases come back later on? So I think, is there any way I can do something to make this better? So yes, I do have answer. This Dr. Walton talked about yesterday, a label called Chinese dumpling, and I named that Chinese dumpling because number one is looks like dumpling when I made it, and number two, I'm a Chinese, I want to give myself a little bit credit, right? So when I died 100 years ago, they say, yeah, this old Chinese stupid guy and did this stuff 100 years ago. So I get my name on that. So what the idea is coming from, when I started in New York, all the tumor I covered up, I sent to the research lab, and we test in the research lab to see which chemotherapy really work on the tumor. And we write the first paper, so 69% of patient neuroendocrine tumor respond to 5FU. And John Line was my research resident. I said, John, let's do another study. I think should have more tumor respond to this, not 69%. So second study showed 93% of time respond to that. So I think I have an idea as to how we can do this right now. So what happened is, after I dissect our tumor out, you can see the vessel now very clean. I put the gel form is like a piece of or sponge you can put in the tumor resection bed. We use that for years to stop the bleeding because it soak up the blood and make a blood clot to stop the bleeding. I say I can use to soak up chemotherapy, right? And put in there. And then I have my residents sew this back together. That white thing, we'll sew this back together, almost like making Chinese dumpling. And then it's worked pretty good. So I think I won't be the first one in the whole world did it. I wanted my name on this, so I'm going to do it very quick. I said, let's present it in the national conference. So what we did is 32% of 30 patients without the dumpling, as I serve as control, and 32 patients with dumpling. And let's see what happened. I have to be very honest to the audience. I say the survival are no difference, okay? Because this was very short, I tried to in a hurry to publish. The important thing is 30 of the patients without the dumpling, 16 I have to take them to the operating room. 32 patients with dumpling, only 6 I have to take back to the operating room. To me, that's a big achievement already. I have to reduce the chance of needed a second surgery, right? More amazingly, if those 16 patients I take to the operating room without dumpling, 9 of those 16 I find tumors in the area I resect. If those 6 patients with dumpling, 2 of them I take back, and 6 of them I take back, only 2 I find tumors. So now when you put those 2 numbers together is 30 patients without the Chinese dumpling, with 9 with a recurrent disease in the tumor resection bed. 32 patients, I put the dumpling, only 2, only 6%, 6.25% of recurrent disease. So to me, that's a big achievement from 30% drop to 6.25%. I presented in the 2012 Surgical Society Oncology meeting. And I was very proud of myself. I was hoping I would get a standing ovation or something. One audience come to the microphone and say, Dr. Wang, that's impressive data, but don't sorry to poop on your part. That don't mean shit to me. I said, what do you mean? He said, because you tell us the 5-year survival, no difference. He said, we are cancer surgeons. We're looking for survival. Unless you show me you improve survival, this don't mean anything. I will not adopt it. So my resident almost cried, say, Dr. Wang, we put all the work. Now people say this don't mean anything. I said, let's go home, do more work, see what happened. So we get more patients and they study that. Now look at it now. With the Chinese dumpling, the patient getting 88 months survival difference. So my conclusion on the paper, I said, Chinese dumpling, yummy, yummy, yummy. And my residents say, maybe we should tell them go home, eat that shit. So now the thing, the second manuscript should come out pretty ready pretty soon. The other thing, I changed the game plan quite a bit. Now the third portion, now I talk about the primary, I talk about the lymph node, now I talk about liver. The liver, there are so many ways you can treat it. Dr. Warren having so many tricks in his pocket can help us. But if surgeons have to debulk the patient, I really think the wrong concept has been perpetuated. A lot of surgeons, even including my own hospital, we present a case in tumor board, they will say, oh, this patient will need a right hemicolectomy, a right hepatectomy. What scared me to death? I said, please don't do that. those patients already have just so many disease, you need to preserve as much tissue as possible to save money for the rainy days. So I say you want, in order to do the surgery, you should try to go just to address the problem. So this is a patient, I show you the tumor, all the lumps in there, and no one won't touch him again, tumor in there. So he find me, yeah, I take the tumor out. Okay, we're gonna wrap up pretty soon. So this one, I take the tumor out, and then my resident say, Dr. Wang, you forgot to take the picture. I put the tumor back there. So that's why the tumor looks funny. But anyway, there's so many things to talk about, and I think in all our time, I'm going to cut it short. If anyone have more questions to talk to me, I'm more than happy to. The last thing I'll show you a little bit is one other thing, maybe coming in pretty soon down the road is use a Geiger counter to find a tumor. I've been doing this for patients, use an arterial scan for years. But arterial scan is fading away because it's not that sensitive, and Gallium 60 is replacing it. But the new scan is coming out pretty soon, will be copper 64. And the copper 64 have much longer half-life, and I think I can use the neoprobe to find tumor. So this is a patient like tumor in the neck. I take it out, make a small incision. I can get tumor out from the chest, and it will take me an hour and a half without opening the chest to get the tumor out very nicely. And patient can go home the next morning. And this patient with a tumor behind the renal vein, we cannot find it without that thing. I'm going to just go to skip to the last slide and to tell you what my thought about doing things is. This is what I told my residents: say, start by doing what is necessary, then what is possible, instead of you're doing impossible. And I'm going to stop here. So if you have any questions, come back, talk to me.
Thank you very much.